We want to welcome you all to another episode of Let's Talk with Ro. Tonight, I'm so excited about our show, and I know you guys been seeing the graphic. I appreciate all the inboxes you guys been sending. You know, the fella's been on fire tonight about this show, Unappreciated. So tonight, my guest, Lamp. Matter of fact, James, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, first of all, thanks for the invite. My name is James Lampion. I'm the host of the podcast Conversations with Lamp. That's it.
That's it. That's all
it.
you got for us.
So we'll get more into it.
No, it's good, Lamp. You know I got jokes for you tonight. You know I'm gonna wear you out in here tonight.
Oh yeah, it's all good.
So, what area are you from, Lamp?
Capitol Heights.
Right now, I know that this is not new to you because you do a little work yourself with podcasts. Tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Well, actually, this is kind of new for me because all I use is Zoom. So, but my podcast, I use Zoom. I do interview style, like one-on-one. I basically look at my podcast as like a audio biography of the person. So if you listen to my podcast, you don't hear too much of me because it's all about my guests.
Okay, that's good. Well, you guys know I don't waste any time in hopping into the very first question. So tonight, you know, the show is titled Unappreciated. Mm-hmm. So I know that a lot of times, you know, men and women can be treated kind of differently as far as their roles and getting credit for things that they do around the house. If we being honest, you know, I noticed that, you know, coming up, if my aunt, you know, was washing clothes around the house, she was cooking and cleaning around the house, you know, she was keeping the kids in order. It wasn't uncommon, you know, for the people in my family to say she was a great wife or to say she was a great mother. But I'm not going to lie, men didn't get a whole lot of accolades. I know not where I was from. Men didn't get a lot of accolades. Now, first of all, are you single or are you married?
Oh, I'm married.
Okay, you married. And do you guys have children?
Yeah, we got one.
Okay, so you guys have one child, a daughter. Now, I know that throughout your marriage, you know, you guys have experienced some interesting things because something took you guys to California.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, my wife had got a job offer with a big tech company. So we decided to go ahead and let her pursue a dream.
Now, that's a big deal. You know, a lot of times, you know, it's a reverse situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was weird. It was a little weird because you know, we looked at as being a provider. So for me, I had to basically give up my career to help her. But it wasn't hard because she talked about what she wanted to do. So when a person communicates clearly what they want, because my wife always told me, you know, she was going back to school and she wanted to work with a big tech company. And when that offer came along, I had to let her pursue it. I mean, even whatever was going on in my life, it had to take a back seat to her.
Wow. And I think that right there is a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, I take my hat off to you like trophy because a lot of men, you know, I'm going to tell you in my dating life, I'm going to tell you right now, some men couldn't handle that. Yeah. No, it's not no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm telling you, I haven't been married, and I think that changes things. But it does. Marriage is a whole different ball game. You know, y'all shocking. You know, you live
because I'm not doing that for a girlfriend,
right? You know what I mean? But I will say this: a lot of men, even though it wasn't that significant, like it wasn't a matter of somebody relocating to another state. But I have heard men say things like, I don't see a place in your life if you do this or if you do that. Like, it was basically like they felt like I was above them if I made more money.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Society always tells us that we need to be the providers. So if you make more money, a lot of men struggle with knowing how to provide when it's not just financially. But there's other ways you could provide. Like you could just being a presence in a woman's life, just being her rock, just being her goddess, just being her strength. That's the way you could provide. But unfortunately, because we get drilled by society, it has to be money. That's the first thing we're looking at when we look at providing is financial.
You know, I'm not sure that I've heard any man put it like that before. You know what I mean? Like, it's other things that I can provide. you know, like I think that's a wonderful thing because sometimes in a marriage, you know, or relationship, you're not gonna hold breadwinner the entire time. You know, you got seasons for things and things happen sometimes. You know, and like you said, it's a damn shame. Some men would have took your same situation and said, I ain't washing them dishes. I'm for real.
Well, but let me be clear. I didn't always start out with this perspective. It's not like we got married and I knew everything to do. It's just life continues to happen. And my wife played the most important part of that because we had a conversation one day and she told me she needed me. And it kind of made me step back, but I was like, well, why? And she explained, well, it's not for money. I need your presence. I need you to be a man. I need you to be here. So once my wife told me that, it put me at ease about the financial piece because she's just more educated than me. So she should make more money. That's just the reality.
Wow. Listen, I am so excited. I mean, about what you just said. I can tell you right now, that statement you just made gonna make the highlight of the week because a lot of men don't understand that. A lot of men don't understand what a presence means. If let's dig deep into that.
Okay.
So when your wife sat you down and she said, you know, I don't need your money. You know, I need your presence. Did you understand what she was saying she needed from you?
Yes, but again, I only understood this because that conversation happened like more than 10 years into our marriage. So I had time to see my role. So once she said that, I was able to reflect because my wife has made more money than me for a while. So I've had time to adjust. But let me back up real quick for the men because I don't want people thinking like this no man bashing session or nothing. Because we gotta understand a man can only do what he's seen. See, all this stuff is new to us. Like women being more educated, women going to college. This is new. So our generation of men haven't seen that. We're used to the man being the breadwinner. Like so, it's hard for a man to adjust to something he's never seen. I mean, even for me, that was a tough adjustment for me. I grew up with my stepfather and my mother. My stepfather was retired, so I can't really say if he made more or less, but the reality is my mother was not my wife. My wife is an extremely educated woman. So I couldn't hold her back because we're a team. So it just happened that way. Like sometimes you meet people and they just like she's a brilliant woman, and it's like, okay, what do I do? Do I hold her back, or do I just go right along, let her do what she's gonna do? So I had to make sure the ship was sailing correctly. So I just followed her. I don't want to say follow her lead, but she had a plan, and we went along with her plan.
Okay. Now, from the audience, we had a guy that says, thank you for your comment. I think most men know that women treat men that make less money very differently than they treat men that make more. Do you agree with that statement?
I'm gonna say I can't speak on that because I've only dated my wife, so it wouldn't be fair for me to put something on a woman that I haven't experienced. So I can't get at a good answer because I've never dealt with it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you. As a woman that's always been pretty much, you know, for the most part of my life, I've been pretty financially grounded. Um, I never treated men like that. Money was never my goal. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna date no man that don't have no job.
Well, we heard you say you don't deal with
I
broke
we don't
Christianity,
do
so
broke Christianity. You know, thanks, Mike, for tuning in tonight. Mike said we are still the head and not the tail, and that's never gonna change. You know, whether we is I'm guessing that you're talking about black men. He's saying whether y'all have money or not, you know, y'all still the head, and I agree with that.
and that's one thing my wife established that I was the head. And see, that's why I say it's a tricky piece because a lot of times we look at whoever makes the most money is the head. Well, our situation was different because my wife let me be the head of the household. She just made the most money. That's all.
That's what I'm saying. And I think that a lot, man, it's not going, I know for me, if a man doesn't have like your kind of mentality, we can only speak to what we know at the table. It's going to be difficult for him to be alongside me. You know what I mean? If he have that kind of mentality, like I don't have a place in your life, if you're making this much money or blah, 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 that's going to be something because it's like the relationship turns into a competition.
Yeah, but remember what I said. That's up to you to establish that. You personally have to let him see where he fits at in your life. Because he may not understand where he fits at. Because again, men are just so fixated on finances. I mean, it's not a bad thing because at the end of the day, you need money to provide. But when all you know is okay, I make the most money, so I'm in charge, and then you run into a situation where you don't make the most money, you gotta adjust, and that can be a hard adjustment for some men. Most men, because like I said, if I didn't go through it for a period of time, but me and my wife met young, so it's just so many different dynamics at play.
Right. You're right. Okay, we're gonna go to the comments. Okay, so Khadijah, thanks for tuning in. That's my best friend. Dee said a mature woman doesn't treat a man differently based on his income, and I agree. It's a lot of dynamics with that. I think that a lot of men have been in bad marriages and bad situations where they were disrespected and they tolerated that disrespect. And it kind of traumatized them. And I think that was the driving force for a lot of men that I know to even do more because they didn't like the things that were said to them. Because some women will say some wild stuff. You know what I mean? They'd be like, this is my house, or this is mine, or this is my car the first day that you decide to sit down and play the video game instead of doing overtime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's all about that. Every woman is not like that. And some people, some guys, they just haven't healed. They hold what they've gone through in one relationship to this standard, and that's just the way they think it's going to be. But there's nothing wrong with it. Hey, if you want to make the money, make the money. But if the woman end up cheating because you're never home, don't get mad.
I mean, yeah, that's a possibility.
There's a big possibility. I see it happen all the time. Okay, so you got a Mitchell Matthews on the line. Mitchell, thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah, he said Lamp is a strong dude. I told him this myself. He planned it out and he handled it the right way. Yeah, he for you. Let's go to these comments. Lamp Day is on here tonight. Okay, and women still have to tap into a man's hero instinct. Get him to see you need him more than you need his finances. And I agree. Something I noticed that you said, your wife chose the right words. She said, I need you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times men don't realize that, they're needed. You know what I'm saying? Present. To be present. She said, I mean, it's like she spoke out my spirit. I can just feel her on that.
Yeah.
And sometimes women say that to men and they don't care. Their response is, this is my job, or I just can't be present for you. And I respect that. But 9 times out of 10, those relationships gonna fold.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance.
Like, it is.
I know a lot of people want things to go back. Well, I ain't gonna say want, just the way things used to be. But again, like life has changed, women have evolved, and they're not going back to those days of just being housewives and cooks and cleans. Like women making money, so
yeah. And now it's a lot different too because like you said though, I think something you said tonight that was big is that some men haven't seen an example of what's happening today, like you said.
Yeah.
And if you were raised and your dad was in and out, or, your mom was at home, just a homemaker, this new stuff, it's a big change. Like you said, people's childhood plays such a big role in the way they operate in their relationships as an adult.
Because I can't say for sure my father would agree with my decision. I can't say that for sure. I mean, God rest his soul. I would have did it anyway, but I don't know if he would agree with it because again, we like let's be clear. Our number one purpose is to provide. That's number one. That has to be number one. If it's not number one, you as a man will fail. So you have to be a provider. And nobody says you have to be providing the most financially, but you have to. Men are attached to work, and I found that's one of the things I had to learn when I did go to California, because when I did go, so the first month was cool because it was like good. I needed a break. I'm not working, but then around about a month and a week, I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't had a paycheck, so I started to get depressed because that's what I've gone to work for 14 years, more than that. But the job I gave up, I had 14 years. So to not get that check every 2 weeks, yeah, it bothered me until I got another job, and then even that job didn't work out. So it wasn't an easy road. It was just the road that I knew was right.
Oh, that's good. But like you said, we being realistic. Most dudes, like even in my family, I thinking on my uncles and my brothers, they'd have been like, "You a fool."
What me if I like
Any a man in
yeah,
general, they'd have been like, "Man, you a fool." I ain't
and
man,
that's the thing.
dog.
You have to be secure in your decision. Like any decision you make, you have to be secure, and you can't look back.
This is my thing, like you know what I mean. Like it to me, to maintain a household requires more than money.
Oh yeah,
And I just feel like when money trumps everything, you probably not in the right relationship, or you not really ready for marriage.
yeah, but it's tough though. It's tough for money not to trump everything,
I
because
get it.
money is so important.
You know, now
Yeah, I
listen,
know.
you know right now, you know money is important, and
Yeah,
I'm all about the money, but I just feel like, yeah, it gotta be a common ground.
yeah,
You
it do.
gotta really talk that thing out, and you gotta give it some attention. And you right, it a lot of times it's two people like Jay-Z and Beyonce. It been a lot of times when they was on the other side of the country. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They working. That's why they ended up on that tour together. You can't.
But me personally, I don't like looking at. I really don't like looking at nobody marriage, but especially somebody of that stature, because their marriage is going to look so different from anybody marriage walking this earth. Because he's a billionaire and she's damn near a billionaire. So it's like, man, like a change of scenery, like going to a private island where nobody gonna be there, can alleviate a lot of your issues. If I could have just picked up and went to, hell, I just going to Sandals in Jamaica would have solved a lot of problems for me. But you know, I'm not saying we couldn't go, but it's like if we could, at that moment, you just starting your job, and you still trying. And California wasn't cheap, so it's like, yeah, you gotta you gotta adjust.
Okay. So we got a comment. James is the only example I've seen where a woman treated a man this way without being mistreated. So to see a close friend do this with his wife and it worked out is a beautiful thing to me. Like your man saying, just because he witnessed it done, in a loving and kind way. You know what I'm saying? He said it was just a blessing for him. And
Which friend is that?
that might be your brother.
Oh, okay.
Mitchell Matthews.
Oh yeah, we not brothers, but
But
I
that's your
call him.
bro,
Yeah, I call
right?
him a brother. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he just really, he is just like, I really appreciated that, just saying that. And I get it. When women can be rough,
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm a woman and I know that sometimes I can be tough, especially, me. And I will say this, me in the business realm and me in the house realm is a different person. You understand? So I will say that you got to cut off business. Now, I believe in cooking dinner. I believe in cleaning the house. I believe in that. And believe it or not, even with my tough schedule, I know how to make time. But that's because you make that choice. Money don't trump everything,
Nah, no.
it doesn't. But like I said earlier, women got to be oh so careful with what they say to a man. You really do. The ego is so fragile. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how big would you say your ego is? And don't come with no foolishness and say something
Say
like
about
y'all
it.
don't have no ego.
No, I'm gonna say about an 8.
Okay, because I mean, every man, I don't think any man goes below an 8 with their ego.
Now you gotta have an ego.
You got to have
You
an
have to.
ego. And do you think, I mean, what are some things that you think can damage a man's ego?
Not working. Um, a, not working. A woman not believing in them. Those are two of the biggest ones. Just a
Yeah.
woman. Like if you got a woman and she don't believe in you, now you have to get that woman something to believe in. She shouldn't just believe in you because you exist. But if if you've proven to have a plan or something, you got a direction you want to move your life in, but the woman don't believe in you, yeah, that could damage your ego.
You know, I have a problem with a man. You just said something big. You know, you said you got to have a plan.
Yeah.
And when, you know, a woman, I got a problem with a man that don't have a plan.
And I'm gonna be honest, I that's one of my setbacks in life is I don't have plans. And it's scary because when I hear people say that, like if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. I haven't failed, but I'm not where I know I should be.
Right.
So
Yeah, and I'm, you know, and thank you for your transparency. But you know, if I ask a man what his plan is, you know, and that question can often catch people off guard or make a man nervous, you know. But I'm just like, what's your plan? You know, what, what?
now he could be okay. Let's say his because God gives us a vision, right? If you believe in God, which I definitely do.
Okay.
So God gives you a vision. Your vision could be big, like very big, to the point you scared to share it. And
Mm-hmm.
if he's not, and let's say he's not, he doesn't know you well enough to share his plan. That could be an issue. I'm not saying that is, but
Oh,
it could be.
like, and I appreciate that, but let me put this into the proper perspective. If first of all, let me get some shout outs. Hey Sheena, hey Tania, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Hey Gary. But Sheena said a woman is supposed to speak life into her husband. And you guys, if you guys are putting your comments inside here and you get a little frustrated with that, the number is going across. If you guys want to call in, you feel free. Here is fine as well, whatever. But I will say, dang, I lost my thought, and I had a good one too. The plan situation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that you should be talking about certain things at a certain level of you meeting somebody.
Nah.
You know what I mean? So I get it. I'm not about to ask nobody or share my plan with somebody that I'm getting to know.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah, but I mean, once you kind of getting into some things and y'all talking about marriage and things like that, you know, after a while, I need to know something. I'm like, you know.
And then you also got to count too. I can say this for myself. Like I didn't go into my marriage like able to open up and communicate freely. That took years. I'm thinking maybe like
Right.
8 to 10 years. We've been married 19.
Right.
So but there's things in life. See, life is your best teacher. So it's like sometimes something will happen, and it's like, okay, I need to talk about this. When you talk about it, and then you get your partner's response. And if they if they nurturing, they caring, and they listening, it's like, okay, I can give them something else and something else. You just have to keep building on that one thing. But it could be challenging because you're scared. You got fear.
Wow. That's good. Cause you know, I've known people that you know, men and communication, it's like if it's anything wrong, if it ain't talking about the sun shining, they not trying to touch it a lot of the time, you know.
We're solution based. Like we don't want to talk. Men don't like talking if we don't have a solution. Like women can have vent sessions where you could just talk about their problems and there's no solution. You'll never walk into, I ain't gonna say never, but it's very rare you'll walk into a room. It's a group of men talking about their problems with nobody with a solution. Even if the solution not good, they'll at least throw it out there. Like, okay. And then one person will say, well, nah, that's not the answer.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
that's
the
funny.
thing. Because we just want to fix it. Like if my wife tells me something, I'm listening, but I want to fix it. So if you can't fix it, then it becomes frustrating because you're gonna keep hearing about this situation, this problem. There's no solution to it. Then frustrating.
Yeah, I get it. It's funny. You're right. It's just that male and female thing is for real. And when when you don't know till you know.
But it's good.
When you sitting there, you looking at each other, you like this, and for a woman and a man to be sitting in the same room and he come up with a solution that sound crazy, it's gonna be a different response from a woman than when you in a room with your boys.
Yeah, but we can talk to each other straight. Men can talk to men straightforward. Like when a man's talking to a woman, most good portion of men will kind of like make sure that when they deliver the message, it's appropriate. Because I can't talk to a man the same way I talk to a woman. Not, like even right now, if I was talking to one of my buddies, my voice would be louder. We probably talking about sports, shooting shit, just something that would make me more animated. But this is me and you having a different conversation. So my voice is, it's not going to be as high energy or loud, or because we just talk to each other different.
Right.
It's just like women. Like when a woman talks to a man, if she, let's say she likes him, we just want to use that. If you like a person, you give them good eye contact, all that good stuff. Body language different. She relaxed. It's good. But she's not gonna talk the same way with a man. He's gonna talk, he goes up to a woman, he gonna talk to her a little softer, more delicate. Because that's just the exchange of energy. You're not gonna talk to a woman the same way you talk to a man. At least you shouldn't. I mean, you want to be successful with the woman.
Right.
I mean, you want to, if you just want to get curved, yeah, just talk to her like you talk to anybody else. But
yeah. No, that's real. Oh, so like you said, it's so much. Now, I know that I have some gold digging friends. You know what I mean? And I know
gold digging.
Gold digging.
Well, that's good.
I know some females that just they out for the bag.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought you said gold. You saying gold, GOLD.
Meaning that they like to use men for money.
Oh, gold digging. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I know some young ladies that are really big on that. And what you think about now, I'm gonna tell you, just a year ago, if somebody was talking to me about prenup, I was kind of frowning on that. Like, nah, they probably shouldn't be together if they can't.
Because it's like you planning to fail.
It's like you planning to fail to me. And I'm just like, if you don't trust me now, and
it's complicated.
It's complicated. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm growing in wealth.
Yeah.
And I thought about it. And when I looked at Mary J. Blige get took for bad, do you know how much money he asked for per month?
Yeah, he asked for a lot.
He asked for $45,000 a month.
I thought it was more than that, actually.
That might have been what they settled for. But that number by itself, I was like, oh.
Yeah, he wanted a lot. He wanted her to pay child support. That was a mess.
That was a mess. And, I do look at prenups differently, especially since I looked into them and just learning that, the truth is, I don't think nobody get married think that they're going to get divorced.
Nah, of course not.
You just don't think like that. And I feel like if a prenup is put in place, I think it's fair. I even look down into the way I would want mine. Whatever I established before you and I got together, I feel like that's mine.
Yeah, I agree. Age matters though, because you wouldn't look at it. You wouldn't look into a prenup. I got married at 23. My wife was 25. We're not looking at no prenup. We don't got nothing. We're looking at the prenup for. So, but if I got married now, yeah, we probably would be looking at some prenups because, the person is more established. They may accumulate some real estate, some investments. Nah, if you gone, go. Like,
this is mine. This is mine. You didn't help me establish this. And now I do feel like it's fair. Whatever we establish together, that's fine. And I do think about things like as you get older, you think about retirement.
That's where it gets. But see, that's where it gets. That's where it's really gonna get messy. If y'all start establishing, like, it's gonna happen. But when you establish stuff as you get older together, that's where it gets tricky. Like, I mean, let's say right now you got your salon. no man is entitled to that. You had that when you came in. But if y'all get
And I
together.
got 3.
Oh yeah.
I have 3 salons.
So whatever 3
And
you
it's
got would be
barbershops attached
yours.
to those.
Yeah, so that's
So
yours.
it's like, no.
But then you get with him and you open the 4th shop.
That's different.
Now it gets a little tricky.
Guess what? It don't get tricky for me because you know what? I don't mind giving people what they do. You know what I mean? It's just unfortunate that people get trifling, man, in these divorces. I done seen it, man. So let's go to these comments. So Tone said we doing prenup. And you know what? I understand that.
Yeah,
I really do. Because now I think about what I have to lose.
Yeah.
When you don't have nothing to lose, your mindset might be different. All right, then I done disrespect my brother on the line. He said no prenup needed. If you want to leave, just pack up and go. When you marry, it ain't that simple.
And people get better.
Whew.
You got I hear what you said. That's your brother.
My sister, I didn't even know I'm sorry to cut you off. Sheena said we got a prenup.
Yeah,
she said, oh yeah.
Like to me, age really is a factor. Because if you get married in your early 20s, I mean, unless you got some money, that's different. But if you just come into it in your early 20s, chances are you really don't have nothing to do the prenup with. I know for damn sure, listen, if me and my wife did a prenup, there was literally nothing to be dividing. So it didn't make sense.
It wasn't necessary.
Yeah, but when you start getting in your mid to late 30s and 40s, start accumulating things, it
makes sense.
It's a conversation that need to be had.
Yeah. And Anton said your spouse would be entitled. Yeah, I'm aware. He was just talking about how my spouse would be entitled to, half of everything, if we got married, if we didn't have that established. And, from what I've seen, yeah, buddy. Yeah. Yep. For me, and, I don't like to talk about my money, but I got a lot to lose.
Yeah, of course.
I say that. So Mitchell said the feelings get in and make it complicated. Like you said, people get bitter.
Yeah.
Especially don't let you move on to another lady.
Yeah.
Or don't let her move on to another man. You know what I mean? And then don't let the child actually like him. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
It just all get messy. You know what I mean? So like you said, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, Dee Dee said, oh, what about if the agreement is that only one spouse will work? Now leaving without anything is not a fair option. Prenuptials can look however you wanted to look. You're right. But guess what, Dee Dee? I'm sure but when you have a spouse in the house that's not working and the other spouse is taking care of them, you gotta take care of them people for a certain amount of time to get them on their feet.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, Dee Dee, that works. That works. You might be in the house, but I'm gonna tell you that works.
But the one thing that I think women got working in their favor is, man, good luck finding a man that just want to not work. I don't know no men that's just good with being a house husband.
Nah, and no offense or nothing, that wouldn't work for me anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, now I will say this: if we had to have that work, and because this is my thing, even though some men stay at home, like I know men that's making it happen. You at home, but you working. You helping keeping them businesses going. You have things to do. It may not be your name on things, but I wouldn't want that because the way I like to start businesses and the way I'm business minded, he would have his business up and running like nothing. He would
have to be really special to take that kind of role on.
Yeah.
None of the, to my knowledge, none of my friends could do it.
Yeah.
So.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nah, hell no, ain't nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, but I think it can be challenged. Yeah, you just got different challenges, as far as when it comes to making money and careers. Yeah. Like me personally, I work a lot and I've dated a lot of men that travel a lot. And, my thing is, I don't want no marriage where you're not at least coming home at night. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like the long distance move for the money,
What do you mean?
I don't like people that's away from home for weeks at a time on work.
Oh, weeks at a time?
Yeah, weeks at a time. Like 2 and 3 weeks, you out of state. Yeah, and like for me, I just know it's nothing wrong with that. I've seen couples make it work. But for me, that wouldn't work.
I mean, if you sign up for it, you got to make it work.
If you sign up for it, you got to make it work. But I let guys know from the gate, But since you said that, now I wouldn't even date a dude that work long distance because they lie. Like men say anything. Men say, yeah, I'm gonna come off this job in a year. They'll be like, I'm gonna get an in-town position. And you look up and you know when you are enforcing what they said, you know it's a problem. You know what I mean?
Because like I said, he has to be in a position where he can provide. So let's say he said, okay, in a year, I'm good. The way you're talking is almost like a trucker. So we're just gonna stick with a trucker. So if he's an over the road truck driver, and he said, okay, babe, in a year I'm going to become local. Look into it. He was making 100K over the road. Do local, he's doing 75K.
That's cool.
Nah, not to him.
And that's a problem. He need to be by himself.
But again,
he not ready.
But see that's the thing. We say a lot of things in the heat of the moment, and he might have thought he was ready to take that 25K cut. Well, let me say this: he didn't think about the 25K cut he was going to take.
Right.
He just thought about the fact that he found a woman that he loved.
Right.
And that feeling, love is good, but it's not enough, and it can. I don't say go away, but
it comes and goes.
But the love, when your love level at 10, you'll say a lot of shit. Love level at 10. But once it get to about a 7, I don't know if I could take a 25K cut road. That's a little bit too much.
Yeah, it would be a big
car, that's my mortgage.
Yeah, that's cool. But I get it. But like I said, you know, I think that as people grow, you know what not to get in because you know what you want. Like Mitchell said, at this point in my life, I couldn't do no long distance stuff. And my brother said, I couldn't be in no long distance relationship because I got needs. You know, that's another thing on the table. What you doing for 3 weeks? Grown men got needs. Yeah. What you doing? So long story short, you know, I think that it's important for when you go, the older you get, you in a marriage. Yeah. So it's a little different, but not really though, because marriages change. You go through seasons. You know what I mean? That's true, yeah. But that's why I said what I said. You know, a lot of people always are inquiring about my dating life, you know, so I'm clear on that. Like now.
You talking about men inquiring?
Yeah. I get a lot of questions in my inbox, you know, about what I'm interested in and things like that. And I probably, you know, I don't really do the DMs, but I look at what people want to hear about. And, you know, for me, I've learned to not pretend or date people on what it could be later.
Oh, potential.
Right. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like if you already on long distance and I already see it ain't no time, I'm good. You know what I mean? That's the wise way to go.
Yeah, because you're signing up for a deal.
You signing up for a deal you don't want. So that's just off the break. That ain't gonna be no good. So, you know, Talisha, thanks for tuning in. That's my sister right there. And she said love shouldn't have a price tag on it. But like I said, you know, for me, I don't see me stepping down from work. You know what I mean? I'm a woman and I'm not gonna step down.
What do you mean stepping down? What do you mean? What that looks? What does stepping down?
Like if somebody came along and was like, "Bro, can you shut down one of your shops?" Like.
What would be the reason?
Because it don't make sense to me.
No, I'm saying he's asking you to shut down the shop. Is he able to? What's his intentions? Is he intending to replace that? Is he?
This the thing with me. Like, it wouldn't matter if he was replacing the money because it's something I love. Like that's been established, and like for me, like I said, I knew what I wanted in life. Okay. I knew I wanted a family one day. So I set my businesses up to run themselves. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's me. Everybody didn't move like that. Everybody didn't think ahead like that. I set my businesses up so that it wouldn't have me away from my house.
So let me ask you, which one are you more passionate about? Business or family?
I think it's an even Steven.
Can't be.
Yeah. I love my businesses. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't have no family.
Okay.
Like as far as a household family. You know what I mean?
So I would say this, in my opinion, it's my humble opinion, I would say business is more important.
Okay.
Just because I feel like if family was more important, you would have took at least a half a step back by now to try to get a family.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because women. You know, women with the clock and the biological thing. Women got so many different things that they got to account for. A man can literally. Men have an advantage women don't have. First of all, women can be viewed as too ambitious.
Right.
A man can never have that problem. A man can never be too ambitious. If let's just stick with you for a second, right? I remember having this conversation with somebody on the podcast. A woman can, if you in a position where you put your business first over your family, people will look at you like you're wrong. I can make that exact same decision. I could say, listen, I could say right now, listen, I'm trying to start my own business. I don't have no time for no more kids. And the world would be like, that makes sense. You say the same thing, no change of words, nothing. But damn, that's selfish. You're a mother. You're supposed to be a woman. You're supposed to be, that's your job. That's your role to bring family into the world. So women already had that disadvantage.
Yeah.
So that's just something y'all have to get around, which is unfortunate. And then you got the age thing. A man can literally say, I'm not gonna have a family till I turn 50. He can make that decision and and accomplish it. Whereas a woman, let's be honest, 30, 30 what, 35, 36, really 30, women start really looking at their biological clock at 30. But 35, 36, they're staring at it. So you can't make a decision like, I'm gonna get my business first, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, then I'm gonna have kids. Because you don't know. I mean, men can have problems too, but with a man is just gonna be sperm. Let's just be honest. That's all this issue gonna be. A woman can have a bunch of different issues going on where she can't have a baby. So she has to make a decision now at the age of 35, maybe 40, like, hey, I really only have like a year or two left. I have to make this decision right now. A man never has that pressure. He just doesn't. He can decide, okay, I'm 50. Man, I done ran the streets. I done everything I want to do. I want to have a kid now. Now, the kid, unfortunately, may not get a long life with the father, but he still accomplished his goal. His goal wasn't to have a kid and grow old and watch the kid grow up. His goal was just to have a kid. There's a lot of men had kids in their 50s, 60s. So that's just a unfair advantage women, a disadvantage women already put at.
Yeah. I had a it's all about your mindset though. You know, for me, I never even thought about that for real. Like having kids and stuff at first. Like
You ever
that
thought about it?
not for real, not never. That's how I was really into my work. Like I wasn't tripping off no
So
kids.
how could you say it's you realize you just answered the question, right? When I say which one you more passionate about.
No, it's not about being passionate. I think it's about purpose. And I think it's about what you've been around and your thought process.
Okay.
Like you said, the way you raised, I was in a position. See, I never expected my father. It was just my father and I never expected my father to die the kind of death that he died when I was so young. And when he died, it wasn't nobody to fill his shoes like that. Like my aunt, she stepped in, she gave me somewhere to live, but it wasn't what I was used to. And I knew off the bat I had to do something. I never saw my life turning like that.
Okay.
I was like Cinderella. My father, he did everything. Like I had everything. You know what I
Uh,
mean? So
it's a
I
family thing that make you have this respect.
I never thought that I was going to be in a position where I had to drive like I had to drive to take care of myself. I kind of got thrown out there. And when I realized what men did and what they required, like the experiences I had, maybe that's just what God had for me. Like the men that I dealt with, they wanted sex off the back. I had to take care of them. And I knew that I wasn't interested in that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like the demands that they was making on me as such. Like I was young, you know what I mean? But I didn't like the demands that was made for a man to take care of me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what made me like that. My experiences. I was like, hell nah. I ain't about to deal with this. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna be doing this and that for no dude to pay my bills. And I just vowed, I said, whether I'm married or not, I gotta be in a position where I can hold the house down.
It's interesting.
That's the way it was. Cause who was I gonna call? Somebody to come over there and hit. So that, or I had to deal and be in a company of men that I really ain't want to be bothered with. You know what I mean? It wasn't like in my lifetime, I came across all these wonderful candidates.
So could the right man have made you
Chill
back up
out.
a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a couple of guys that made me kind of chill out, but they wasn't loyal. A lot of men that have a lot of money think that they could do whatever. If you got money, I don't care if you got money, you gotta be loyal.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't be sleeping around.
But I hate to say this, money presents options.
Money can present options.
Because let's listen, it doesn't matter. Your status doesn't matter, like married, single. People are just attracted, especially women are attracted to powerful men. So your marital status really doesn't matter. If you've shown that you can, provide, be a good leader, especially leader. Like if you exhibit great leadership skills, women will be attracted to you. Doesn't matter what your marital status is. It's just that's just what they're attracted to because you know what I'm saying. It's like you've established yourself as a leader. Not that women. I mean, if you, I mean, you're a biblical person. So the man is already in your mind. The man should be the head. So if he's established that he's a good leader, I'm not saying you would be attracted to a married man, but you would be attracted to that. You would be attracted to a man who has good money. He's a leader. He knows how to talk to people. Like all those traits are attractive. So you may not want to deal with a married man, but a lot of women don't mind because they just look at the reality of the situation. It's not a lot of men. It's not a lot of good men. You got men in jail.
Why do people say that?
Because it's true.
It's not though.
I mean, listen, we could argue, we could debate, but
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I see a lot. Now, my standards are through the roof. So, a lot of good guys I see, they still not gonna rock with how I'm rocking. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You understand? My thing is real narrow. You know what I mean? My options are very narrow, but nah, like I ain't gonna lie, I don't slap.
But you kind of making my point. Your options are already, you yourself said your options are narrow.
I think women waste a lot of time on situations that ain't working. You know what I mean? Like they settle for things that they shouldn't. I see women all the time. I be like, if you would have just stood fast, you know what I mean? Like if you already going into this, that man ain't gonna marry you. He got a wife. He not leaving his wife. So if that's what you settle for, that you gonna waste some years on that. And
I mean, but it's easy to say what you shouldn't do.
No, I do it. So
no, you do it.
Yeah.
But a lot of women don't.
And that's sad.
It is sad. But again, we gotta be real about the situation. There's some very powerful, not even real powerful. There's just men out here who are, for lack of better terms, they are good assets, no matter what. They got money, they got leadership skills, they know how to talk. Listen, all the women want is you to show a good time, right?
Some women, that ain't good. I can show myself a good time. I do it like every night.
You could, but come on, let's be realistic.
I'm being real.
I'm sure you would love to be in a company of a man that you deem worthy being in your company, right?
I will say this. Every woman look for different things in a man, and I'm not so easily persuaded. Let me say that. Like for me, I get to talk to people all day. I got a hair salon.
Yeah.
I see some
mostly women though.
No, that's a lie because I got barbers.
Okay, all right, good point.
So you gotta think I've been surrounded. I got good looking dudes coming through all day long, and 9 times out of 10 they gonna stop and say, "What's up, bro?" Or we gonna run it back. We gonna talk. So long story short, for me, it's about purpose. You know what I mean? Like I like to have a good conversation. Like you said, I do like powerful men. Yeah. But we gotta have something to talk about. Like I really like when a man have a purpose and he really working towards something in life. Like I just don't like people that got a whole lot of free time just to sit around watching the wind blow. Yeah, like for me, I'm looking at you like, are you fulfilling the reason why you here on earth? Do you know who you are?
A lot of us know that.
I know, and that's what I'm saying.
But it's kind of bad saying this, but
no, be real.
A lot of people die without knowing their purpose.
Yeah,
you can die. Like I'm 42, and I'm still figuring out my purpose. Now I have an idea of what my purpose is, but that took years. And then you gotta remember, you go to work. Most people work 8 hours a day, so unfortunately that's your number one priority, is getting a check every 2 weeks. So by the time you get home, you're not really focused on your purpose because you're trying to regroup from just working this 9 to 5. So most people don't live their purpose. That is just the way the world is set up.
I know,
We
and
don't
that's
get
why
a
I said,
chance to.
and look, that's why I said I need a special one. And look, this the catch. I'm about to go to the comments. I'm coming, y'all. But another thing for me is, when a woman come into your life and she trying to ask you questions, and you can't have this big ass ego and be lost.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You see what I'm saying? That's what pisses me off. They wanted to be their idea a lot of the times. They want to be the one to make the discovery. Slim, I can't sit with you for 10 years while you discover something.
Yeah, that's
especially if it's my gift to help bring out the best in you. Okay. You gotta let me do my job too. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's women. That's women in general. Women help men find their purpose.
Hold up. If
the man allows it.
Oh my, do you know how many men right now are failing because of a supersized ego? Do you know how many men right now is away or like at this job for 12 hours a day and coming home lost because he want to be the one to come up with the great idea?
Yeah.
That is wild. Like, you winning in life to me just because you understand that your wife have good ideas. Like, some men don't think like that. And it don't matter. You can say, honey, I made you dinner. Honey, when you get a chance, could you let me know if you want to discuss something? When you
Okay, so let's focus on the great ideas part.
Mm-hmm. Hold up before you go there.
Okay.
I can't believe it's 7:51, man. We rocking. So Lori, thank you for tuning in tonight. Lori said, I have a cousin that's been with a married man for 5 years and he didn't have a job. He finally has a job and she's still with him. Make it make sense, bro. It don't make sense. But you know what? We're going to float on to Reverend Demetria. She's talking about some women settle for married men because of their self-worth issues. And this is a generational curse that needs to be broken. And I am with that. Some women don't know who they are. That's why we got so many people walking around with plastic butts now. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to joan or knock nobody. You know what I'm saying? Because some people get it. Now, if you seriously have a situation where you're doing something to better yourself, I know women that did things that they want to look at the mirror and be a better person. They want to get their physical right. But some women literally get things done to their bodies and they sleep with married men because they got this crazy ass dream that one day this going to be their husband. It's crazy. And I'm just like, baby girl. Like, for me, if I'm dating a dude for a year and a half, we pushing on 2 years and we not moving towards marriage or it's not sinking, I'm out.
You out of there, huh?
I'm out. Yeah, you can't be, you feel me? And we trying to stay out the bedroom. You know what I'm saying? We trying, and people human, things happen, but it's you try and find that balance. Like, and we almost 2 years in. If you don't know if you want, matter of fact, I ain't even waiting around. You don't have no plan when I ask you about that. I'm gonna watch the board. Ain't no plan that been made. I'm out. I'm good.
Go.
I'm out. I'm not sitting there because I make it clear from the jump what I want. Like, if I went out on a dinner date with a guy and he said, do you want to get married? Do you ever want to be married and things like that? Like, I'm not dating for nobody to be my damn buddy.
Yeah, but I think it's a way to do it, though.
It is.
Yeah. I think women have to give men credit, because I think a lot of women need to know, men know that when you get to a certain age, we know you're not dating for sport, unless you say you're dating for sport.
I ain't gonna hold you though. I always been like that though. I never even when I wasn't in the church like that. Like, I never liked the way I felt with some dude humping on me and he ain't had no plans for me. I always been that type of woman. Like, I always knew my value was high. I knew if a man had me, that I was a major asset.
As you should think that.
And a lot of women don't think like that. Like, a lot of women don't really recognize how important that is. Can you imagine what the world would be like if all women said, we on one accord. We shutting that down. Ain't nobody getting no ass unless he got plans. I bet you men will make plans like never before.
I agree.
You hear me? It's just the way the world operate. And you know, for men, it's hard for y'all.
But see, a lot of women problem is y'all listening to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all got all these relationship coaches, relationship advice.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's too many. It's way too much.
And what you think men listening to?
Nothing.
Oh Lord.
Nah. I mean, God rest his soul. They had Kevin Samuels, but other than that, see, men don't. We don't really. We like to have personal advice. Like, I think I know I speak for myself, and I speak for a lot of men. Like, we're not going to no relationship guru. That's not us. We're gonna go with what works. Like, we'll take the time to figure out, you know, do we really love this woman? Do we want to be with her? Like, nobody. This is the thing about. This is what I hate about like relationship coaches and all that stuff. And I hate to take a shot at people, but the reality is we make things way too complicated. Relationships are not this hard.
No, people are hard.
Yeah, because in order to make a relationship work, the only thing you got to do, know your partner, what they like, what they don't like, what they love, what they don't love. It's that simple. Kevin Samuels can't tell you what your woman like. Steve Harvey can't tell you what your woman like. These millions of women can't tell you what your man like. That's up to you to find out. It's up to me to find out what my woman like. It's up to you to find out what your man like. It's that simple. But for some reason, people have made a lot of money. They've come up with this complicated formula of what's supposed to work. So that's why
you're right. I'm gonna hop in these comments real quick. Okay, so Tone said, thanks for your comment, Tone. Women in their 50s are dating for sport. They've been there, done that. Yeah, a lot of women in their age, they just want some sex. They just trying to have a good time. They ain't worried about no damn.
Yeah.
They ain't thinking about no marriage, you know.
And they live the life and they try to do something different.
Right. So Mitchell said, you damn right we would be. When I was talking about, I bet you men will figure out a plan with no butt. Anton said, which is why there's a lot of bad men out here, because being a bad guy works. Right. It's a lot of women that's just attracted to that foolishness. Yeah. You know, when I say bad guy, you know, the dog. They love that.
I mean, look, I'm not a woman, so I don't know what women love, and I really don't care.
Yeah. We use people who we value, their input. You know, Mitchell said his dad, his uncle, and mother, they kind of instilled some things in him. Yeah, but I will say this. Oh, that's my little cousin right there. What's up, cousin? What's up, KK? But I will say this. I don't think that anything we put on the table tonight is wrong.
Nah.
I will say that. You know, and for the people watching, I feel like it's important for people to know what's important to them. Mm-hmm. You know, the things that we've been through in life built us up to where we are now. And it's really up to you to establish the kind of life that you want to live. You know, and a lot of people, I think that they miss great opportunities in life because they settle for things that they really don't want. Or they enter into things that they shouldn't have. And like you said, I love the way you talked about building in life on rocks. You go through experiences that hurt you and make you and grow you, you know, or you see things that make you happy, you know, and you kind of just build your foundation from right there, whether you're married or not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but we have 2 minutes left in the show, and I just can't believe that time it flew by.
Yeah, that was quick.
You know, okay, Talisha said knowing yourself before attempting a relationship is paramount. Yeah, but this was such a good show. You know, your conversation is always good. You know what I mean? I listen to your podcast all the time.
I appreciate it.
It's always excellent. It's always rich.
Thank you.
And, you know, your wisdom tonight at the table, I'm sure that people are going to take away a lot of the things that you said. You are very memorable guest.
I hope so.
You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to all the comments and things like that that's going to come. But, you know, I just, like we said, we got 120 seconds. We're going to wear them out. You know, with the financial piece and the success piece, it can really rip apart things.
Oh, yeah.
And I think what you said tonight was the biggest thing. It's about knowing your partner and you all understanding what you both want and what you need.
Well, and also real quick, people change too. Like in a relationship, in a marriage, especially if you get married young, you want change. So you have to be prepared for that person to change as well. What they want, what they desire, it's gonna change.
Yeah, thanks, Mitchell, for tuning in tonight. Yeah, but you're right. People do change, and it's just something. I don't think we any of us got it completely figured out.
Nah,
But one thing is for certain, and two things is for sure. I don't think people should stay in spaces with things that they just don't want. You know, if people not trying to fold and work with you, and partners not coming together to really work things through, or it's just, some things just ain't meant to be. You know what I mean? It is what it is, but we can go on and on about this tonight. Sheena, thanks for tuning in tonight. Yep, she said you should change. Yeah, you guys, I'll see you right here next Monday on another episode of Let's Talk with Ro. I'm looking forward to next week. We're gonna be kicking off the teenage series. I'm gonna have a young man on here that's talking grown man talk, like Lamp, and what he goes through as a possible future NFL player, and how he deals with young women, and how the dynamics are that much different. They are that much different even when you're a teen. All right, you guys, have a good night.